Alright, gang, that was a brand new music right there from New York's own Diesel America. And they have an album getting ready to come out very, very soon called Leave Your Mark. And in fact, I gave you the title track from that very album. And joining me now by phone, frontman of Diesel America, Vic Russo, here inside the Asylum. Thank you for joining me, Vic. How you doing?
I'm doing well, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for taking the time out to join me here inside the Asylum. I know you'll be probably busy with getting ready for the upcoming release of Diesel America's first album.
Oh yeah, well, no, man, I'm happy to be here, and yeah, we're definitely busy. We've had a lot of stuff going on, getting ready for a big record release show on April 18th, getting ready with all the bells and whistles for the actual release of the album, which will be coming out April 16th. So yeah, it's been a really busy time, but also a time that's been a dream come true and a ton of fun.
Well, that's good to hear, man. I mean, there are so many people nowadays struggling to kind of reach those dreams, and you guys are, in fact, getting there and making it happen. And now, I want to go back a little bit because you guys are new to me, and I'm sure you're new to a lot of people out there. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Diesel America, how you guys came to be, and all that?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, Diesel America has been around for a little while now. Actually, a little bit more than a little while, probably about 10 years at this point. But in many different iterations. And the lineup of the band now that's together and putting out this debut album has only been together for a year. And we got together because I went to a show. I'm a big fan of local hard rock and metal music, so I went to a show a little over a year and a half ago, and I met a mutual friend there who happened to know the guys in Diesel America. At the time, they were looking for a singer, but he didn't think to put us together until 6 months later. When he wrote me, he's like, "Hey man, you still looking for a band? I got this awesome band, Diesel America, that you'd be an awesome fit for." So I went over to the music building where the band was rehearsing, and they gave me one of their songs to learn, which was "Symptom." Went in, auditioned with that, and we hit it off really well. As soon as I heard these guys play, they had sent me some tracks ahead of time. I knew right away that I wanted to be a part of this band, and we clicked right away, and we went right into getting together more songs, and a lot of the instrumentals were already written, so I came in, I wrote a lot of the melodies, and we wrote a lot of the lyrics, things like that, and the album was born.
So basically you were kind of a guy looking for a band, and these guys came along, and you're saying a lot of it was written already. How much of the album was written? How much of it did you get to add your own take on, considering you came in, and there was stuff written already for someone else? How much was there allowed for you to add your own touch? Or was it one of those things of, listen, you definitely fit the band, but this is what's written already, go with it? What exactly was the scene there?
So, I mean, this band, the four of us, we very much operate in an egoless way, and just really want to be all about playing the genuine music that we're just all creating. So when I came into the band, they said, "Hey man, here are the songs that we have written, so pick the ones that you like, and you have free reign to do whatever you want with it, if you want input on the music, on the melodies, on the lyrics, things like that." So I took a listen to some of the back catalog of all the instrumentals and with some of the vocals and melodies that were already written, and I just went to town and rewrote a number of the songs, most of the album, and we made it into something that was completely different and completely, this brand of Diesel America.
Very cool. I mean, like I said, it's I know on a major level when bands get new members, it's always that awkwardness. We all know the fiasco that went on with Metallica, with Jason Newsted, that it's either Ride the Lightning or Injustice. I'm spacing at the moment, which has no baseline on it whatsoever because Jason was a new guy in the band. So it's nice to hear that on a local level you guys were able to come together, and granted you were the new guy, it was able to just meld like you guys have been together from the beginning.
I was, really fortunate to find this awesome group of musicians, and hopefully they feel the same way about me when I join the band, and, it feels really good to be able to talk about it as, we're this, one group now, and at no point was there ever any conflict about, hey, the new guy in the band is, trying to write new music, and this isn't where we want to go. It's really been this great collaborative effort. That's not to say that it's not without its growing pains, and I don't mean growing pains along the lines of things being difficult to manage, but obviously there takes time and everybody getting to know each other as far as writing styles and playing styles and things like that. So they weren't exactly used to the way that I came in and the way my vocals are and the way I tend to write lyrics and my song patterns, and we're writing new stuff now, even before our first album drops, and I'm contributing a lot more to the guitar part as well, and and I'm learning as well what it's like to get their style. So, but that's all part of the fun and part of the process.
Now you bring up your vocal style, and the one thing I noticed right out of the gate, because you sent me a couple of tracks, in addition to Leave Your Mark, you sent me First Day and your guys' cover of the Misfits song Where Eagles Dare. And the one thing I caught listening to it is your vocals kind of have a Ramones kind of style. Like I listened, the first thing I thought it was like, wow, it's vocally you sound just on the level of the Ramones. Were they an influence on you vocally, or how did you go about finding your vocal style?
Yeah, thank you for that. I would love to be compared to the Ramones any day. So I can't really say that I specifically was influenced by the Ramones, but I will say is I'm influenced by just the greater musical community at large. So the people that I'm heavily influenced by musically were probably heavily influenced by the Ramones. So when I think about the four vocalists that are my top influences, they're very much, with the exception of one, New York metal. So for me, Pete Steele and Nina Caputo during the River Runs Red era are probably my top two vocal influences. I'm a huge Brooklyn metal guy, so their ability to sing clean vocals over underlying very heavy music, I just love that. And to go along with those guys that say that Leonard from Tool, and then especially Glenn Danzig in general, love their vocal style and really love Glenn Danzig's voice and his style and his approach. So I think those four guys really, for me, kind of put the biggest influence into the way I approach vocals and the way I sound now, and sprinkled with other typical metal favorites that you can't help but to be influenced by, of course, like like the Metallicas and the Megadeths of the world, things like that.
You bring up Nina Caputo, who's voice has always been one that stood out, not just in the local music scene, but those nationally, and worldwide that know Life of Agony, know, those very distinct vocals. And what was it like, having, Mina Caputo being one of your influences musically, and now here you are, the album is being produced by Joey Z of Life of Agony. Here you are now working with someone you look to for vocal sounds, and now you're working with their fellow bandmate.
Yeah, if I went back in time right now and went to like '93 when River Runs Red was released and found myself and said, "Hey man, you don't realize it, but one day you're going to make an album and Joey Z's going to produce it," my response to myself would probably be, just kill me now and bury me in the ground. I've accomplished everything that I want to do. It's such a dream come true to be able to play music and to play music with one of your rock heavy music icons is just out of this world. I mean, I remember we played the Horns Up Rock show for Project Independent back in October of 2013, and like I'm on stage and there's Joey Z, and like Joey Z is watching me perform, like, oh my god, Joey Z says he loves our album so much he plays it in his car. Like, fuck, I used to drive around and listen to Life of Agony in my car, and now this guy's doing it with my music and my band's music, and it doesn't get any better than that, man. It really doesn't.
I'm telling you, I mean, we could all, there's so many of us that would be like, if you told me I was going to be doing this, I mean, you're right. It is that moment of, you know what, bury me now, because it is perfect. I mean, you really kind of nailed it right there. What was it like working with him, in studio, putting the album together? A lot of bands locally worked with him, and I've heard nothing but good things about working with Joey. What was the experience for you guys going into the studio and working with him?
I mean, Joey is super well known for Life of Agony and being this amazing guitar player. And if you don't know, you very soon will know that he's an amazing producer, an amazing songwriter, an amazing sound engineer. He's all things music, not only from a creative point of view, but also just from an operational, getting stuff done point of view. He knows how to bring out the best in you. He knows how to make sure that you're properly prepared upon getting to the studio, and he knows how to get what he wants out of you and helps you think through all the points that you're struggling with, and is also very open and receptive to your ideas as well. There's nobody better. If you're going to record an album, you should find Joey Z and make it with him. I mean, he did all our mixing, all our sound engineering. He mastered the album, and it sounds phenomenal. We absolutely loved working with him. He did a great job.
That's really awesome to hear. Nowadays everyone wants their own little piece of something. So you got one guy that says, "Oh, I'll produce it," and another guy that goes, "I'll mix it." And you got everyone wanting to put their hands in. So it's always nice to hear when there's someone out there like Joey Z just saying, "Listen, I'm getting involved, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do what's right for what the band wants." And I know he's worked with a lot of bands here in the New York area, and it doesn't surprise me, what you're telling me, and everyone really does need to wake up and see Joey Z is a lot more than just a member of Life of Agony. He is, in fact, one of the great producers. And, I want to ask... No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that, Joey's a really great, genuine guy. If you're ever at a show and you see him, just, go up and introduce yourself, and, he'd love to talk to you. And he really loves working with local bands, and he is part of the reason why there's a whole New York City hard rock metal community resurgence happening because of the influence that he's putting into it.
Yeah, you bring up the community, and I want to ask how the rock and metal community has accepted you guys thus far here in the New York area. I mean, you guys are relatively new compared to some of the other bands here in the New York area, and I'm just wondering how other bands have accepted you and what they've said about you so far since you guys have been around.
Yeah, so I think we've been received fairly well from other bands as well as venues and promoters as well. So, over a short 12-month period of time, we've gained a lot of momentum, and we brought 150 people to Trash Bar. We brought a number of people to a lot of other venues in the city, and some of the other bands that we played with. Some bands are when you play a show, some bands don't really interact that well. Not that I blame them or say this is a bad thing necessarily, but a lot of bands are bringing in their gear, setting up, worry about their sound. Then they got to take all their gear down and they got to leave because maybe they're playing another show, or maybe they got to get their equipment back. So I haven't socialized too much with other bands, but when I have had the opportunity to talk to some other bands after shows, we've been really well received. A lot of bands a little surprised too because they didn't know what to make of us because we're not exactly rock and we're not exactly metal either. We're definitely somewhere in between, and a lot of the bands that are playing New York City right now lean more towards, at least the shows we've played, have leaned more towards the heavier metal side. But once I've been able to interact with them and they've interacted with other people in the band, the reception has been pretty positive. So we feel good about everything, and we actually share a rehearsal space with a number of other bands in the music building. We're part of this bigger organization called the New Musicians Union, so there's some great bands in there. A band called Full Molder that's going to play our show on April 18th. Another band called Gunman Voodoo. Another band called On Point. Another awesome reggae metal mixed band called In Days. So we all go to each other's shows and we all support each other. So it's been great to have them in our community as well.
Well, that's really what it's all about. I mean, you are right. Some people get the wrong idea from bands, or even certain individuals at the shows. Like you said, everyone goes out and they see a band, and someone goes, "Oh, well, this band they left. They didn't talk to anybody." But you never know what comes up. I mean, no one's making millions yet from doing these things, and I mean, I'm forever apologizing to people myself because it's hard for me to speak over a lot of the loud music when I'm at a show. So I'm always kind of reminding people, look, I'm not snubbing anybody. You're not going to be able to hear me, so I'm not going to get into a in-depth conversation while trying to yell over a DJ or another band playing.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, and if you're at a show and there's a band that you really like and they don't talk to you, don't take it personally. They may be trying to get their stuff in and out of the door, or have other things going on, or they might be in a certain headspace about wanting to play. People in America, we always try to connect with people after our shows and hang out and check out the other bands as well. And also, we like to go to shows and go to events that we're not necessarily a part of, just so we can support the other bands that are out there, and then talk to the folks that maybe were at one of our other shows before, and just really be help build that community, and we want to make friends too. So yeah, that's it. Really, music is just all about community, and it should never be a thing about, one band doing better than another. I mean, if we all support each other, we're all working towards the same goal. There's enough room for everybody. So, it's great just to continue to build this community.
It is. I mean, it really is kind of the way to do it. It's a very, your mentality is like mine. It's the old school mentality of just get out and go and support the show instead of, picking. There's so many people, I've heard it, I've been around the scene for 5 years now, and, I've heard a lot of people kind of pull this, well, I know 2 bands on this bill, and I really only know 1 band on the other bill, so I'm going to go to this show instead of that show. And they're not necessarily shows on the same night. They can be shows on different nights, and people are just picking and choosing, as opposed to just, like you said, going out and supporting the scene, so because everyone's got the same goal in mind at the end.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, there's always conflicting shows and things in life that you got to go do. So I think the goal is, contribute to the community as you can and as you would like to. And it will support you in kind.
Now, you're a young band and you speak of community, and right now there's a lot of talk over, social community, internet community, as everyone's heading more towards Facebook and SoundCloud and Twitter and all of that. Not that it's bad. I love it. It's why I'm able to do the Asylum, thanks to the internet and all that, and able to get music like yours to tons of people all over the world and all over the country. But as a young band, what's your take on the whole idea of social media and music together? Do you think it hurts it? Does it help it? Are too many people giving away stuff for free over the internet? Well, what's your take on it?
I think it has its pros and cons. So, if I think about it from a positive point of view, social media and a lot of the technology tools that we can use now to record our music and put it out there gives a lot of bands the opportunity to get noticed that otherwise probably wouldn't have gotten noticed before. There was a much more strict infrastructure about what bands got discovered 20 years ago versus now. So that's a great thing. So, there's probably a whole population of bands that people would never have heard of that are truly talented and truly just awesome to listen to, that, given the old infrastructure, would have never been discovered. On the flip side of that, though, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because now there's so many bands out there that you could potentially listen to, and so many bands that are utilizing Facebook and Twitter, that the fan base of music has become oversaturated with choices. So it's actually can be a little difficult. As great as this technology is, it's this weird counterintuitive thing that it might actually be more difficult to have somebody pay more specific attention to you because they're being inundated with all these choices, and say, I'm just fed up. This band is friending me again, or this band sending out its Facebook link again. Like, I just don't care. I get 1,000 of these a day. So what this current infrastructure does, it doesn't allow necessarily the next Metallica or the next band with the song, like with the next Master of Puppets, to just rise to the top and get discovered. It's actually a little bit harder. So it's an easier entry into the marketplace, if I think of this like an economist, I guess. But on the flip side, more difficult to get your brand recognized in a certain way, because in the past, once you got through that more difficult barrier of entry, there was a whole infrastructure of record labels and their marketing and their distribution that took care of a lot of things for you, and it wasn't this do-it-yourself culture, and they had better expertise at it that got you to the next level more quickly. So entry level, much better now because of social media. Getting to the next level, I actually think is a little bit more difficult.
I gotta agree with you there. I mean, it does leave the option to get more out there. I mean, it's hard. I mean, for me, as someone doing internet radio, it's hard because sometimes I miss out on the next big thing. Maybe I'll hear about it months later or even a year later. But at the same time, like you said, the label side of it's getting hard, especially because so many artists are now doing it on their own that the record labels just almost hesitant to throw that money out there and invest in a new young band.
It's tough. I mean, all these bands that are doing it themselves, although these tools exist, certain bands, don't have certain expertise to properly market themselves, and Diesel America is no exception. We're trying to figure out the winning formula as well in this current musical industry environment to have more people discover our music and reach that next level of success. So I think at some point the industry is going to have to change where the economics of streaming music become better for. Right now, they're great for the consumer, but they're going to have to become better for the people in the industry, and the government's going to have to help with stealing music to kind of rebuild that infrastructure so there is a meaningful balance between bands being able to do the DIY culture of marketing themselves while also having professional partners that are willing to get invested into the band to really help them get to that next level. So hopefully, if it's not us, somebody else will figure out the winning formula to make that happen. But I'm hoping it's Diesel America.
I can definitely see you guys being one of the bands that really start waking people up. Yeah, it's funny you bring up about some kind of regulation of it. I want to get your take on the idea of, not necessarily Spotify or YouTube. YouTube is what I wanted to ask you about, because a lot of people make accounts and they find a favorite song from any band, local, major band, and they just put the graphic up, the song over it, using Windows Media editing software, and suddenly a song that you guys worked on for months to get out there is now up there for free on YouTube. Someone just has to type in Diesel America and they'll get your live show, your songs. What's your take on, forget the Facebook and Twitter aspect, but the YouTube aspect of essentially YouTube sits there and goes, everyone's music is up for grabs.
Yeah, I think there are people much smarter than me out there trying to figure it out. I think the reproduction and stealing of music that you did not create has always existed on some level, right? We all used to make tapes back in the day and trade them back and forth, and those things. And those things were never the best quality. So when you did that, it was almost like free marketing in a way. Because if you got one of those tapes that you really liked, you're like, I got to go buy this album. Eventually, now the technology is so good for stealing music and reproducing music that you're not otherwise entitled to do, where the difference between that illegal reproduction and the original master copy is nil. So it doesn't work as a marketing play anymore. It takes money out of the songwriter's pocket. And YouTube has, I guess, proven itself another technology that allows people to do it. Now, it's not YouTube's fault necessarily. It's the people who are using this tool for the wrong reason. And I think in the next couple of years, you will see that YouTube will have figured out a way to properly manage all the copyrights across its platform and cut down on that type of reproduction a little bit better than what's happening now. But I agree with you. It's a problem. And listen, if you're a fan of music and you really love a band, just don't do that. Help your band. Every band that's out there now, there is no Metallica anymore. There's no up and coming Metallica. There's no up and coming Sabbath or Megadeth or any bands like that. Every band, new band that is putting out music, whether it's on a label or independent right now, all these bands have second jobs and are trying to make it. And if that continues to happen, where their music is getting stolen and reproduced on YouTube, you're eventually going to disincentivize these amazing musicians from putting their music out in the world. So if you really love music, support your bands in other ways. Even just if you want to direct people to your favorite band's SoundCloud or Reverb Nation, where a lot of bands stream stuff for free, do that instead of reproducing it on your own personal YouTube channel or other social media where it doesn't link back to the original artist.
Yeah, I mean, I for one, I use YouTube. Everyone knows that. I use it for, interviews like the one you and I are doing right now. For those of you tuning in late, Vic Russo of Diesel America. Right now, I'm here inside the asylum. And, you bring up a great point in that I put up videos on YouTube, mainly these interviews. I do have done one or two that included some form of music. But when I did it, YouTube let me know, listen, that's a song you don't have the rights for. We can't allow it. And yet, you get video constantly of live shows. I can't tell you how many tweets on Blabbermouth I see every day during the highlight of concert series during the summer of live footage from fans at Motley Crue or at Kiss or at Iron Maiden. And you sit there and you go, I have tickets. Why do I want to see it beforehand?
I hear you. People really identify with music in so many different ways. Music, I think, is an emotion, and when you find some band that really reflects how you feel in your emotion, then you really identify with that band, and you want to see everything that they're doing. You want to get behind the scenes. You want to know them better than just your initial listening to their music. So yeah, a lot of people will love to see a lot of that stuff up front and then go see the band anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I have no idea how to fix any of that stuff.
What's your thoughts on it? If someone comes to a Diesel America show and whips out their iPhone and starts recording video, because some artists have actually come out and said, more recently, Glenn Danzig has come out and said, if someone in the audience sees someone else filming it, that they're to take whatever they're filming it from and smash it on the ground. Now, that's a bit extreme. What's your view as a member of the Music Society? If you're on stage and you saw someone, pulling out a phone, knowing it'll end up on YouTube, does it bother you, or is it just, for you, it's exposure to help get the word out about what you guys are?
Yeah, so I think the problem for me is I can see the arguments on both sides of that story. And it's funny, I actually went to go see Danzig at Roseland, and yeah, they were very strict about making people put away their iPhones and Androids, and making sure they weren't funding things. From the Diesel America perspective, if somebody wants to take some pictures of us and video of us at a show, just have at it, have a good time, record it, enjoy it. If you want to put it up on your social media sites and tag us or whatever, then feel free. For me, at this point in the stage of our band, that's really about for us, that's building community, and we're totally okay with it. So have at it.
Awesome. I wanted to get that out. Make sure I got that out there. There's just so many people that are starting to weigh in on the matter that I wanted a younger band's point of view on it, which is why I wanted to bring that up to you and with Diesel America. Now, to turn things back around to the album Leave Your Mark, you guys got some shows coming out, one on March 22nd out at Revolution on Long Island, for those of you here in the New York area, as well as the album release show on Friday, April 18th at Slake in Manhattan. What should people expect? Someone that maybe hasn't seen you guys live, heard the song Leave Your Mark before we started talking, they're listening to you now and they're going, maybe I want to see these guys. What should someone expect from Diesel America when they see you guys live?
Yeah, people should expect to see just a really great, honest performance. We're really a no bullshit, no frills kind of band. We get up on stage. Kevin, our guitar player, plugs in his SG into his Mesa Boogie. Frank is this. Our bass player is just this real. He's the best bass player I've ever heard. He's plays really heavy, but at the same time just holds down this amazing groove that makes the bass almost like a lead instrument, not part of the rhythm section. And Rob is just so killer behind the drums. I mean, he's also the handsome one in the band too. But we just everybody is just genuinely great at their instruments. We're playing the music that just honestly came out of us, and we play it hard, we play it heavy, and we play no bullshit. So it's once we start, we don't stop, and either hold on or you're going to get run over. That's the kind of show we play.
I like that. Hold on, you're going to get run over. I could see that now on a T-shirt for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, you know what? We got to make some merch for this show, so maybe we just figured it out now.
That'd be a great one. You know what you do? I'm giving it to you now on the air. This is great. You take a diesel truck, you put the Diesel America logo right on the hood of the truck, and around the truck it says, "Hold on or get run over."
There you go. The T-shirt is born, man.
That's it, man, right there. That's it. I tell you what, you do that one, I'll be first in line to get one of those bad boys.
Excellent. We'll have one waiting for you.
Awesome, man. It's funny that you say your drummer is the handsome one. Usually it's the singer that sits there and goes, I'm the face of the band. I'm the good-looking guy. Usually the guy behind the drums is the one wanting to hide.
Yeah, I accept my looks for what they are. It's fine.
It's all good. Listen, like you said, it's unusual. Usually, it's something unusual. Usually the guy behind the drums is like, thanks for noticing me, kind of person.
We have a running joke in the band. We got to make sure everybody gets their 25%. As Frank coined that phrase.
That's the right way to do it. That's how it should be done, man. Listen, man, I know you're busy, and I don't want to hold you too much longer. I want to thank you for taking the time out to join me here inside the asylum. I played Leave Your Mark to start off our little interview here. I have First Day and Where Eagles Dare. Which one would you like me to play as we wrap up our little interview here inside the asylum?
Well, why don't we give people a flavor of Where Eagles Dare, and then you can check us out on SoundCloud or Reverb Nation to hear First Day. But First Day is an awesome song, but Eagles Dare, everybody loves the Misfits, so let's celebrate the Misfits a little bit and play that.
Awesome. Before I get to it, what made you guys decide to do that one from the Misfits?
Honestly, just because am I allowed to drop the F-bomb on this?
Yeah, go ahead, man. We're on the internet, so go for it.
Because I fucking love that song. That's like one of my favorite songs on the planet, and we were talking about doing a cover, and I said I want to do Where Eagles Dare, and again, I'm a huge Glenn Danzig fan, and I love his vocals, and that's the song I wanted to do. They listened to it, we played it, and it was just a ton of fun. We started playing it then at shows, and people go nuts for the Misfits, so it's a ton of fun to play it and interact with the crowd when we decide to break out that song.
Awesome, man. I like it. Hang on tight right now. Brand new music from Diesel America. Their take on the Misfits classic, Where Eagles Dare. See them live Friday, April 18th for their album release party at Slake. Right now, here they are with Where Eagles Dare, Diesel America style.